Welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast with author Sarah F. Hathaway and co-host Chen Gibson. Blending survival, fiction, and fact to bring you entertaining education that will help you dream, survive, and thrive. And now, here's your host, Sarah F. Hathaway and Chen Gibson.
Hello, and welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast. This is episode number 385. Hey, Chen, what's up?
Hey, Chin's up.
Well, we're supposed to have guest Carol Draven from Raven Rock, part of the PBN family on our show, and but their internet's been going in and out all day, so
That's indeed sabotaging us.
We got a little sabotagery going on in the background today, is all I'm saying. So, but you know, the show must go on. So if we get Carol in here, that'll be epic because I've got questions for her today. Yeah, can't fix technology. We got a pretty wicked storm going on down here. It's cold and raining, and we need the rain, so don't get me wrong, but it's cold on top of it. So.
Thought it's showtime.
All right. Storms need to end for showtime, can recommence after showtime. You know, a break here. So these last so-called, we got Garden Girl over in the chat. You guys come join us in the chat. It's always great to have you over there. And I love being able to have the feedback as we go. So it really brings a cool dynamic to the show. So we got fun stuff going on. The audio drama is back in full swing, getting into production mode. Burgess is going to be done in February, so we'll be able to start podcasting that book soon, Chin. That'll give us plenty of fact and fiction to, really bring back to the audience, which is always fun. You haven't read that one yet, huh? I think I was waiting to get it back from the editor. I gotta get you a copy of that.
Keep me in the dark.
I know! Not even Chin's read it. So, I know. I didn't have, mega tech questions and stuff. So. Yeah. So, Burgess is going to be a bunch of fun. L. Douglas Hogan is designing the book cover for that one, so it's going to be epic. Got hooked up. I love my PBN family, by the way. I'm so glad that we have the new website. And
better say that.
Right? We got the new website, the pbnfamily.com. Really easy to find stuff over there. But the amount of incredible people that I get to engage with on this platform because of podcasts, but also being part of the PBN community. Met an amazing friend that hopefully we will do some incredible work together. And so she's going to be helping me out with sound and audio, which is, I'm so excited to have somebody that knows what they're doing to help guide me through that, because I think we're just
nerd.
Yeah, it'll be an epic show. So, in the PBN chat on Ryan's show. What's Ryan's show? I was just known as the Pepper Dance show.
Oh, the Next Generation?
Next Generation. Yeah. Go check that one out, guys. He's always got really fun things going on. I love the way that I'm a story person, obviously, so I love the way he blends stories together with,
he's a cool guy, too.
Yeah.
We have awesome conversations in the back channel at camp, and he's a cool guy.
Yeah, exactly. So good people. He does Yuri and Sergey, obviously, on the show. And, can't say enough good things about Ryan. And met an incredible person on the live chat, and away we go. So the Lord works in mysterious ways. All right. So today we're talking about chickens. We've been doing a little exploring lately of different concepts, honestly, because Chin's at the point on his homestead where he's about to do livestock.
It's all self-serving.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I've been, I got this blank slate of a yard. I have a full understanding, this is what we do. And I have the full understanding that I really need to increase my protein production at home to help cut the costs at the store. Also make sure my family's making good food. So really the mission has been to find that item that we think we can raise really well, we've got a good job with, provide a lot of food for that animal from our 1 acre homestead as well. And that's really a key. Rabbits, yeah, you can do that. I've had so much success with my chickens. I've had chicken farms with over 275 birds and a flock where I'm producing eggs and selling them. And something I know how to do, right?
Yeah, I've done nothing. Crack eggs, and grill, and
it's not easy to do in a townhouse. You need a little bit more space in the townhouse.
I think we got that covered now.
Yeah. I'm trying to get her in here, guys. What happened?
Yeah, so I was listening to Raven Rock Thursday, maybe? I don't know. I was working around the property. And they had a great show. They have What the Flock.
I love it.
About it. Yeah, What the Flock. And they were talking about issues and solving issues. I was like, what a great show.
Yeah, and the fact that they did the first aid kit for the chickens is also a great idea.
Chickens, yeah.
So,
yep. I was like, well, that's more than I've been thinking about coops and feed, and here now I need to think about a first aid kit as well.
Well, that's one of the things, like, when it comes to chickens, one of the things that I think is most important for your chickens is having a secure home. So it's not to be underestimated for sure. If you talk to a very good percentage of people that used to have chickens but don't now, it's like, why don't you own chickens anymore? Oh, because they kept getting eaten by predators.
Yeah.
Or the neighbor's dogs. Or, and like we've had bears literally rip the side of the chicken coop just right open.
Really?
Yep. Yeah. That's why we started doing the boards with the nails backwards, where like we would just hammer a whole bunch of nails in with them sticking out, and that way when the bear went to put their hands on the coop, it would give them a good.
Just watching too much Walking Dead.
Oh, right? No, I mean it works. They go to put their hands
up there. We have to keep peeking out.
We had just really crappy fencing for our ducks. I mean, it was just T-posts and field fencing in between. But we put those boards up all the same, weave them into the fencing, and they don't touch it. They don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even with nuts right there behind it. So, when we did our coop here, we just went and bought a dog kennel. Because a
big chain link fence kind of dog kennel thing?
It's like the 12 by, or 8 by 16, say, one you can buy at, Tractor Supply. I don't know, it's like $400. But the way that, lumber prices were at that time, we were gonna spend just as much on lumber to build out something for them. Because it's gotta be that secure, right? So we just went to Tractor Supply, bought the dog kennel, and then we took down an old privacy fence and built our coop out of it. I like the dog kennels too because they have like that crossbar in them, and so you can use that as like the balance for your wood. We just put the wood across there and put it on the crossbar, right? So it holds up the house pretty much without building too much extra stuff into it. I actually use for my ducks. I just put boards in there and then put a the plastic dog kennel deal. I just put that in there. The ducks just used to go in the dog kennel, and that they live just fine like that. So just got to be ingenious. Alrighty, let's see. Let's see if we can do it. Hold on. Live show, folks.
Fire up the Jeopardy music.
Right? I got questions for her. So.
I know, right?
God. But, yeah, the dog kennels make really, really good homes. Yeah, yeah. Always the bottom of our fencing had, like, Garden Girl in chat, she's like, we did the tighter wire around the bottom so that raccoons can't get in. Yeah, raccoons will just take a head right off a chicken, and then they, like, just drink the blood out of it. They don't even care about the food. It's the worst thing.
Pour it in a chalice.
Yeah, pretty much, because, like, the animal's still laying there, no head, you know. Yeah. So, yeah, we can.
Yes.
Carol, yay! All right. Yeah.
Be persistent. Never give up.
That's right. Perseverance is key.
So what are we talking about today?
We're talking chickens. And,
I love chickens.
Yeah. Yeah, Chin was all impressed. Like, I was impressed with the...
I was listening to one of your What the Flock, number 3. One, I laughed at the title. I was like, oh, Sarah, we have to have her on to talk.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Definitely.
Which one was that?
One of your girls, you cracked me up. You're talking about your chickens as your girls. One of your girls had a problem with, she was like coming out the backside.
Oh, her vent problem.
Yeah. And then you like got medicine and stuff, and you got her back like within a day or so. And
well, she kind of fixed herself overnight before we could even get to the store to get medicine for her. So it was
a
blessing.
You had Dane go and stuff for you. It was a good show.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, we had 2 with the
and she fixed her truck. So
yes, I sure did.
Working on her truck and fixing her livestock all in one show. So.
Man, telling you.
American.
That's right. Truck and chickens, baby.
Jackie of all trades, right?
yeah, Jackie of all trades. Love it. No, yeah, I had 2 get egg bound off of that. I bought my last bunch from Tractor Supply because I'm just out here, back in California. We have like feed stores we used to go to. You could pick what breed you wanted and everything like that. And it was kind of like going to Walmart or something for chickens, right? And so we got these chickens. 2 of them were egg bound, and I've raised hundreds and hundreds of chickens. I've never had my chickens do that before. So I was like,
wow.
2 out of 6. I was like, that's not a very good average. So I'm definitely not going that wrong for my chickens again this time around.
Yeah.
So we were talking about what do you think like the most important chicken care item is? If you said like overall, mine was definitely like you got to make sure their house is secure because people that I've talked to, why don't you own chickens anymore? Oh, something killed my flock. This killed my flock, that killed my flock, and then they just don't get into it again once they don't have birds. So
right.
So what do you, in your opinion, raising chickens? What's like your number one care or like most worried about kind of thing? Minus the problem we just had.
Well, for security purposes, and that's always a big thing for us because we're kind of up on a hill, and behind us is nothing but mountain range, and so there's coyotes and there's probably wolves back there for all I know, but we have I think raccoons and skunks are really bad, and they'll get in there and eat up your chickens too.
It's starting to spawn a dead skunk along the road out here.
Skunks I found eat the eggs a lot more.
Yeah.
If they get in, they'll eat the eggs. And we had ground squirrels stealing the eggs.
I wouldn't doubt it.
It was incredible.
They can't afford them at the grocery store.
Yeah, right? Yeah, because we put some golf balls and stuff in there because we had this one that was eating eggs. So they put golf balls in there so she would have hurt her beak, And so the ground squirrels had stolen the golf ball, too. We found it by his hole. We're like, you little jerk. Oh, my God. Yeah.
But when we first got ours, security was a big thing. We messed up and got our chicks before we had their enclosure built.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't recommend that to anybody.
Yeah.
But I kind of went overboard with their security. So I don't like the way that their coop and their run are set up. It was just kind of a last minute, we got to get something up kind of a thing. So it's a metal shed connected to a cattle panel hoop house, basically, for their run.
Okay.
It's not a good setup at all, but it's working for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But the cattle panel run has that 1/2-inch welded wire all over it.
Yep.
And it goes out so nothing can dig under. And
yeah, we usually bury our fencing down a little ways as well. And then
I
put
wanted
rocks.
to bury ours, but all we have here is rock.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
There's no dirt, so it had to stay above ground. I do have cinder blocks sitting on top of it.
Yeah. Yeah. We always put more rock there on top. That way, if anything did dig, the rocks just get falling in the hole on them.
Yeah. And then they're inside of our fenced-in garden area, which then has 2 strips of electric fence around it. So I really went overboard with them when it comes to their safety.
Yep, and it's a hoop house, so it has a lid over the top, right? Does it have a lid?
No, it's just one big, well, not one big, but we used, I think, 3 or 4 cattle panels lined up, and we just hooped them over. Just like one set of 2x4s is on one side, and one set's on the other side. So it's just kind of.
Do you have any that fly up and out?
No.
Okay.
It makes a big arch, right? The panel makes a big arch.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's closed yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we do let them out to roam around in the garden, but only when we're home and we can keep an eye on them.
Yeah, I got you.
But nobody tries to fly over.
You let them in the garden while it's producing, or after it's like kind of dormant in the winter?
We did let them out in there this last summer, but to keep them out of the raised beds, we built little fences to just kind of sit on top of the raised bed.
Yeah.
So they couldn't get in there to them, but they could still get around and eat the bugs in the grass and whatever.
There you go.
Yeah.
You did a little fence system to your garden. I got it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, and have you hatched your own chickens?
I have not.
Okay, that's what I was curious about. Because like this time around, usually I don't have a rooster. I just don't like having a rooster. Most of the time they're jerk offs anyway. But you don't. Well, you don't ever have to worry about the eggs being fertilized. So I would still probably keep that. I was telling Shannon to have like the bungalow for the rooster. With with just a few hens over there, and then have my main producers and my meat birds in different pens. But I really want to do my own hatching this time, and so I had a bunch of questions about that. Because I don't think I'll just let the chicken do it, although it seems easiest. But
it'd be good to try it both ways, right?
Mm-hmm. Because as far as I understand, all you need basically is a heat lamp. And then even all my books, I've got some really good books on backyard homesteading and stuff like that. And even they don't talk about like hatching your own eggs. So
from what I've read, if a mama hen will hatch her own babies, that's really kind of the best way to go. Because then the new chicks are already integrated into the flock, and you don't have to have that period of, oh, they're still too little and they're going to get picked on and all that. So, that's what I've read.
Got you. Yeah. And it makes sense. Like what we did was we used to, whenever we had new chicks, we would just put their cage area in with the big chickens. But like, that way the big chickens, they were with the big chickens, but not with the big chickens, right?
Right.
Yeah, and then we'd pin the door open, like, after they started getting big, so, like, the little chickens could still run back into their cage, but the big chickens couldn't get them, right?
Right.
So, and it worked really well. We used to integrate, like, 75 at a time into a flock that way, and they would just run back into their little safe spot when they had them. So... All right. Yeah.
I had a rooster because I started out with 10 chicks, and there's always, well, not always, but you run a risk of there always being one that's a rooster, and I ended up with a rooster. Ethel turned into Willis, basically. And I wanted to keep him. He was turned into kind of a jerk too, but I really wanted to keep him. He was a beautiful bird. But Dave wouldn't let me. He didn't know how our neighbors behind us were going to feel about it because we had already kind of had a tiff with them.
Oh, gotcha. About the
so I had
chickens?
to give him, yeah.
And then to
and
have
about
the
just having a rooster
calling.
in general, yeah. So I had to give him away. But as far as, because we're not really supposed to have roosters out here, but there's people all around us that do, because we hear them crowing in the morning, so.
Yeah, I figure.
But I would love to.
I figure when I'm hatching, the roosters, like, the majority of them can just go in the pot, raise them for meat birds. So I was thinking, what kind of birds do you have? Like, what's the breed?
I have three barred rocks. And all three of them are at the top of the pecking order.
Yeah, they're hardy birds.
I'll probably never own any more barred rocks after these three. I did have 4, but the 4th one was Willis. So.
Got you.
And then I have 4 Rhode Island Reds and 2 Jersey Giants.
Okay. Yeah, I've each one of those, and then we really liked Americanas. We had those too. When I was back in California, and I liked them. They look like little hawks too. They're kind of pretty. Pretty little birds.
Yeah.
They're
so cute when they're little. They're marked so beautifully.
Yeah, they can be little ruffians though too. Like without a rooster to keep them in line, they're little ruffians. So.
Oh really?
Yeah. Oh no. The chat. People losing their chickens to the cold, and that's always a problem.
Oh. Yeah. That's something that Dane's always worried about too.
Yeah.
What's the deal with the, because they said silkies?
Yeah.
So, to have chickens with, the clean legs versus the ones with all the fancy feathers and stuff
It's
on there.
really just a breed thing. It's really just the breed of the chickens.
There's not, a sanitary issue or keeping them clean or anything?
Nope. I've owned both kinds, and, they get just as dirty, but they clean themselves up, and sometimes they're a little bit more docile. They lay pretty much the same egg. The one that we had laid the green egg, even. So instead of just a brown or a white egg, she laid a green egg, and they're just beautiful. They got the little fuzz top heads and stuff, but it's kind of like dog breeds. Which one do you like? So, I think I'm going with the Rhodesian Reds, though, this time as well, because they're good for meat and eggs, and they're a hardy bird. They're a good size bird, and they're just they're kind of middle of the road. They're not too aggressive or easily picked on by predators, so. Okay. So have you ever...
Yeah, I've told Dane that we'll probably just have Rhode Island Reds next time. Just all Rhode Island Reds.
Yep. I think that's the way I'm going as well. It was like, I was thinking of having 2 different breeds, one for a meat bird and then one for an egg bird, but I'm like, if I can have the same bird for both jobs, then why would you bother?
Right.
2 is one is none. Are you struggling with water storage woes? Tired of the algae and bacteria growing in your water? The weight of storing it and the amount of space that it takes up? The time that it takes to rotate it, and even when it comes to drinking it, you still need a filter because it's gone stale and you're not sure what has been growing in there. This limited supply of water storage can be a mess to store. If any of the containers break, you have water all over the place, and this leaves you storing water in a place that might not be as concealed as you'd prefer. Today I want to introduce you to the solution, which is the waterful system. The waterful system hooks up to any outdoor spigot. It contains 30 gallons of on-demand drinkable water for whenever disaster hits you and you need that water. Made in America to meet all safety requirements to ensure that you have drinkable water whenever you need it. There's no need to rotate the waterful system because its pressurized canister ensures your water's rotated every time you turn the hose on. It can stand up to any type of weather, is very, very durable, and it's made with UV inhibitors so it can stand the test of time in the sun. You don't have to worry about cleaning your waterful system because it takes care of itself. It is the ultimate plug-and-play water storage system, ensuring you have 30 gallons of drinkable water should disaster hit. Its sleek color ensures that it blends into any outdoor atmosphere and doesn't leave you with a big blue beacon of water storage outside of your home. There's no guesswork to put the waterful system together. It is a plug-and-play system that you can have ready in about 10 minutes. As somebody who's been into preparedness and helping others to prepare for any disasters that befall their life, the waterful system is the solution to water storage. I highly recommend you go over to Waterful, check it out, and use the code SARA, S-A-R-A. One more time, go over to Waterful, check it out, see about their system, and if it's a good fit for you, and use the code SARA, S-A-R-A. Help the changing earth world go round and get yourself prepared for the next disaster. How about the little moving grazing coops? Have you ever checked those out?
Sure.
Yeah, like the sled coops. I was thinking about doing that for the meat birds.
It's definitely a good thing to do for the meat birds if you have the yard or the pasture to move them around in.
Yep.
We don't really have grass here.
Yeah.
So it would have been useless for me to get that kind of a setup.
Got you, to try and range them that way. We have limited, our dirt's not the best, but we can move them around from area to area on our front yard for sure. So, yeah, chicken tractor. Yep.
Yeah.
My husband's happy to have one.
I have too many changes in elevation to do a tractor.
Oh, yep. That's true. When you're on a mountain, it's just kind of sideways the whole time. You're like, whoa.
It's sketchy driving a regular tractor around.
Yeah.
You can't pull a chicken tractor.
That takes a special kind of hydraulic system on that sled tractor. Yeah. I'm sure we got an engineer out there in PDN land that is already working on the design for you. So one of the things that's been big time on everybody's mind lately, and of course, conspiracy theory until the conspiracy theory is proven true, is the food supply, even for our chickens. And now, did you see the couple of articles that came out about them changing formulas at a certain supplier to be able to, so that the yard chickens aren't laying as many eggs? Did you see those articles?
I've seen that passing around, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I actually mentioned that on the show last night. I did an update on Gladys, because she's back in the sick bay. And also did the rest of the show on should you mix your own feed, and then mentioned the whole commercial feed supply too.
Yeah.
For myself, then I wouldn't tell anybody this is what you have to do. You just kind of have to use your own judgment. But for myself, I just wouldn't buy that brand if that's the brand that you've been buying until you know for sure what's going on.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, what? Okay. And the thing is, my chickens really like that food. But I was like, it's wintertime, okay. Maybe they're just laying back a little. They always do it in the wintertime. I don't really have like a light set up. Usually I give my chickens light in the wintertime. I don't have that out here. And it keeps them laying at like the same rate when you can keep their light at the same rate throughout the winter. So I don't have that, and I was like, okay, well maybe that's what's slowing them down. And I gotta tell you, like so I don't trust in anything anymore, which is really disheartening.
It is.
Like our medical industry, everything is gone. So JB asked if adding cooked rice and beans helps. Yes, there is truth to that. Cooked rice only, though. So I want to go over some alternative food items for them. But I'm kind of excited that this happened. Everything happens for a reason, and the Lord works in mysterious ways. Because I found I'm such a believer in sprouts anyway as your emergency food supply. Right? Like, you just can keep massive amounts of seeds on your hands, and if you're ever hungry, you can just sprout them and start eating sprouts. Well, you can do the same thing for your chickens. And from what I was reading, you could turn like a 10-pound bag of seed into 400 pounds of chicken food. I'm like, where have I been on this? Like, yeah, okay, raise mealworms. But that takes like some effort, you gotta build a setup for them and everything like that. But when I never even thought about the sprouts idea, it's great food for them.
I would advocate for that not being their only food source.
Right, of course.
Unless it's like a shit hits the fan thing,
type scenario.
Yeah, but, definitely supplement for sure.
We always do with the chickens anyway, because like they get all their scraps and
yeah,
and they're gonna need. So we'll go over like some of the things. Oyster shells you can do. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on mealworms? Have you ever been like, oh yeah, we're gonna do a mealworm setup?
I actually want to.
Me too. I told
they
Brock.
cost so much at the store, and I've researched how to do the setup and what you have to do to kind of, I guess, raise them. We just haven't gotten there yet, but I'd love to do it.
Yeah.
A friend of mine did the soldier flies. Like you do the whole thing, and then you throw like table scraps in, and they eat off of that. And then they come up out of the bin.
What do soldier flies do?
They do like larvae.
Okay.
The larvae, you take like a big bucket and you make a little ramp coming out of the bucket, and you feed them. You feed scraps and stuff, and the soldier flies come in and lay their eggs, and they turn into larvae, and they all eat off the scraps, and then they walk up this little ramp, and then you just set it up so it just dumps into your chicken coop.
Crazy.
So they walk the plank. It's crazy. It was like a great way to get rid of, scraps and, like rotted vegetables and meats, and like you can even put meat scraps and stuff in, but it doesn't go through the winter. All it petered off, so it was like a great source of food for the chickens. They got the little worms, the maggots, whatever.
Yep. Yeah.
All
the maggots.
But
yep.
It's not a year-round solution.
Gotcha.
And then, so I was like, I thought that was super cool, and then we realized it wasn't.
It's not going to last a year.
Yeah.
But that's still a good idea. I mean, you could make one.
It was, I'll see if I can find the information. I'll post it.
It's like, from Back to the Future, like the fusion thing. It's like on the outside of the chicken coop.
Yeah, you
like
just throw
fusion. Yeah, and they go up.
I mean, they bought like this expensive thing. It's this round. It almost looks like those round totes you put beer in a college party, right?
Uh-huh.
So this big plastic totes, round ones,
Right.
And then it has a spiral, little like walkway that spirals up out of it, and the little maggots or larvae walk up the thing.
Crazy.
Out of the thing, and they fall out, so you just put it next to your chicken coop.
I've had maggots before from my chicken bucket, I'll tell you that much. That's what you don't want to wake up to in the morning in the kitchen. Oh, man. Yeah. Should have taken that chicken bucket out like 2 days ago. Yeah. In those hot California summers,
So,
man.
black soldier flies. Check it out. But
interesting, Art. Now
probably lasts longer, down in Texas because you got a longer warm season. But.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. We don't right now. It's cold.
I've read somewhere that black soldier fly, the larvae, is supposed to have more protein than mealworms.
Really?
I don't know how much more.
Uh-huh.
I'll have to look into that, but that's what I've read.
Interesting. All right,
Yeah.
author brain just went a bad
They go
direction.
through
I was thinking like post-apocalyptic, great way to get rid of bodies or something.
He had like squirrels and rats getting into his feed and stuff, so he was like killing them. He wasn't using poison to kill them. He was using traps and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And he was throwing the squirrels and rats in them, and they would eat that too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we've got our mouse traps all out, because they're all trying to come in now out here in Texas. So, totally off conversation. I make a mouse trap that's a 5-gallon bucket, and you put a string across the top with a little rolly 20-ounce bottle covered with peanut butter to catch mice in, and I made one out here in the summertime. The peanut butter melts off of it when it's too hot. So, not a good hot weather mouse trap. I'll just say that much. It was interesting to find, to say the least. Okay, so table scraps. Have you heard the old adage that you shouldn't feed them onions or garlic because it makes the eggs taste like onions or garlic? Have you ever heard that?
I have heard that, but I think that it would have to be in massive amounts for it to do that.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I was saying. I was like, well, maybe if you had 8 pounds of onions that you were feeding your chicken, Yeah.
Yeah.
I even feed them the long clippings though. We have the collector bag, and I'll just have my husband dump it in the chicken coop, and they love that stuff. They go to town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I did see the other day on there's a vet that I follow on YouTube. She's at the University of Kentucky, I think. I was watching one of her videos on, I think, chicken anatomy or mixing your own feed or whatever. And I did not know this, but she said that chickens can't really digest grass. So if they get too much of it, it'll impact their crop, or they'll get a sour crop, and it could kill them. But so far, my girls are okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never had an inadvertent effect from it.
Yeah.
And it's definitely not when they got the there was nothing weird going on when they got when they got egg bound. Because they were too young, honestly. They hadn't really made it through that many seasons. Yeah, it wasn't within a while, but I've been feeding that feed for a while, so I don't know. Yeah. So oyster shells, did you any kind of... Okay, first of all, always got to ask, what's your opinion on feeding your chickens the eggshells?
I do feed mine eggshells.
What do you do then first? Do you do something? Do you just throw them back out there to them?
No, I wash them really good. I boil them in water, and then I bake them in the oven.
Yep.
And then I crush them up.
Dry. Yep. You crush
Yeah.
them dry. Yep. So, I've tried like every way, and that's the only way I found that like, once the chickens figure out that like the shells taste good, that's when we've had chickens start just eating the eggs.
Yeah.
Like,
I was worried about that, but, I haven't had that problem, although, and I haven't had the problem with them just, going in there and going after the eggs. But if somebody lays one and there's a broken one, then they'll go after that one.
Yep. Sometimes they step on the other one because they're trying. You could have like 8 laying boxes. All of your chickens try to fit in 2. You're like,
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
My Rhode Island Reds try to go in there in one box together.
Yeah.
2 of them in there at the same time. I've even seen 3 in there at the same time in one box. And I'm like, girls, you can't do it.
So I want to, honestly, I was like, you know what? I'm so sick of the, like, laying box debacle. We didn't even build any laying boxes into this coop. It's just a small one. It's the size of a desk, maybe. It's a box, right? Because I only have 4 chickens in there right now. And they do fine. Like, there's, you know, I don't know, the old adage, I don't know where, like, it all came from, but, like, they just make their little nest in the corner and lay eggs in the corner. Like, so they do just fine without the laying boxes. Because I was like, they were always trying to be in the same space anyway. And I was so sick of, like, we had 75 chickens in one area, and I swear to goodness gracious, they're trying to all use 4 laying boxes. And, like, you go in there and there'd be like 12 eggs in one spot, and then some were squished on the bottom and stuff. But they have all these open available slots, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, some they just like pooping. I don't know.
I have learned that they're very much like high school girls.
Yeah.
And whoever lays first, and that's the box that they choose, that's the box that everybody wants to lay in that day.
One of our setups was like laying boxes that were turned on their side, so it was like a V, and you could fill it up with shavings, but when they laid, it like dropped down into that lower part, and that really kept the eggs from breaking because they were like down in that divot.
Yeah. Interesting.
I know, it was just like a setup we saw, and we're like, let's buy it and see how it goes. You know, it was just like 4 boxes, but then they turned it on its side so it looks like a diamond, and then put little roosts so that they could jump up there in front of the little diamond, and then they'd go in there and lay their eggs, and it seemed to really help them from getting so broken. So.
Interesting.
What you got? I don't know if it's skipping, but what you guys thought on like space requirements, like how big of a hen house and how much like
depends on how many you have.
Like, yeah, that's what I meant.
Right.
Like how many? So like I know I have a shed that I'm going to turn into a chicken house, whatever, hen house. So that'll tell me how many that I need, right? I mean, how many hens I can.
I've had like
most in it.
I've had like 25 in a space. We had a set of 5 laying boxes in there, so they all had, you know, the laying boxes are like 1.5 foot max by 1.5 foot max, you know. And it was the smallest space ever. It's where I used to just raise the chicks and then I'd move them out from there. But I had like 25 in there for as full-grown adults for a pretty long period of time, and they did okay. It was the most I've had in one space, so I wouldn't recommend it. That dog kennel that we have is like I say, like the 8 by 16, say, and I have 4 birds in there, and they're comfy. I wouldn't go any smaller. I wouldn't put any more birds in.
From what I've read, I read a lot, apparently.
You're good. Bring it.
They should have between 3 and 5 square feet per bird inside the coop. And then if you have a run area, they should have around 12 square feet per bird, if that helps you.
Yeah, that's kind of the...
Yeah, my coops are way smaller than that. Way.
Yeah,
But they do good.
Our coop is a 6x8 metal shed, and we have 9 hens in there, and they're comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have like an 8x8 garden shed that I'm gonna repurpose.
Well, and if you have the run and you have the coop space, I mean,
the run I've got plenty of acreage. I can make the run as big as I need.
They're
it's
not like...
They're to start. I mean, I don't need like a massive block to start. I need to figure this out, get my feet wet, but
yeah.
trying to figure out how many birds to buy just to get going.
Are you going to do the ones that are pre-sexed?
That's what I want to do. And I know it costs more, but I was going to get like all females to start. Yeah.
Maybe start with like
I started out with 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there you go. We'll see. So, like maybe some aren't going to make it. Maybe a couple might not make it. And they're little. You know that happens.
Yeah.
When we had ducks, we came on. I let my ducks hatch their own eggs. Okay, so I've hatched my own eggs that way, and I just let the mama duck do it. Yeah. We came home to 24 baby chicks that were born.
Wow.
Yeah, we had duck mania. And like 3 of them died. Like the dad killed one, and then 2 of the other ones died. So we ended up, I think we ended up eventually with 19 total. So out of 24 that were born. So it was pretty good.
And that's like no intervention. That's just natural.
Yeah.
Birth.
Yeah, that was just natural. Yeah, I let the mama duck just do what she wanted to do. And I had 2. They both, I bred both females, and so they both had hatchlings at the same time. And, Dad was like, yeah, this is way too many babies around here, and he drowned them in the pool.
How sad.
Yeah. And like if one fell over, then Mom would start like patting her feet on the ground because one of the ducklings fell over, and then she'd like start stomping the other ducklings, and it was like mayhem. And then, wow. Yeah, and then the little ducklings could like pop in and out of the fencing and stuff, and it was duckling mayhem as it was going on in our house. But they taste good in food. Muscovy. So, yeah. But a lot of work when you live in an area that doesn't have water. If you have water, then it's great. But,
yeah, because they have to have water. And
you have to change their pool like every other day.
Muddy water.
Mm-hmm.
Dirty water.
Yeah, keep it nice and clean. Yeah. And fox love to hunt ducks.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kill a lot of ducks.
Yeah, I had neighbors.
All right, so feeding. I want to go back to feed for real quick because we're ripping through our show today. And I want to go to the alternate food. So, what would be your? I got a whole bunch of stuff, but Carol, you just did a show on it. What's your kind of like? Tomorrow you have to start feeding your chickens your own food. What are you gonna do?
That's a tough one. We try to keep a couple of extra bags of feed around anyway, so obviously we'd have to go through that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to do a lot more research on this because there's a lot of vitamins and minerals and things that go into a commercial feed that we can't really reproduce ourselves. So it's finding those supplement things like maybe herbs or vegetables or something that they can get like vitamin K and D3 and things from that you can add to maybe like a scratch grain or black sunflower seed. So that's something I'm going to have to do a lot more research on.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. So I'm like, okay, I'm definitely going to start feeding them sprouts. And then from what I've read, like the calcium is essential. Obviously, that's their eggshells. So like oyster shells, chipped limestone, but not not dolomite limestone. I was like, okay. And that can be detrimental to the legs. I understand. Not enough about limestone to explain that. And then phosphorus. And they get the phosphorus from like beetles and hard-shelled bugs. So I'd be all set out here in Texas. We get those katydids. Yeah, like I could just start collecting beetles and hard-shelled bugs for them like crazy. Salt. So you can buy the mineral block salt licks and give them salt from one of those. And that has, you don't want to over salt, obviously. But if they're salt deficient, they can lay fewer, smaller eggs, and they can turn cannibalistic. So I've had a chicken do that before. Yeah. That was something I found that was pretty darn interesting. And then flaxseed. It boosts omega-3. That's required for human growth, so it's really awesome for your eggs, especially if they're not getting pasteurized. Like, getting pasture time. Not getting, like, pasteurized like me, but getting out and being able to forage. So flaxseed is what I read. That's really good for that. I was really interested in this article that was about lentils, and that it was like feeding your chickens the lentils, right? And that's what kind of sparked, like, the sprouts. It was like, of course. Duh. So yeah, you can do a 50-pound bag of wheat seed turns into 400 pounds of chicken. Okay, so it's not in the chicken food. So it's not 10 pounds, 50-pound bag of wheat seed. You can turn that into 400 pounds of chicken food. And then I remember, like, when I was younger, my neighbor always fed a lot of cracked corn and stuff like that. So, like, all the deer corn, things like that that are available at different times of the year, you just buy extra there and use those sources as well. There's something, I'm going to do a lot more research into. There's something called a lupin bee. Lupin bee. Lupin. I was like, what the hell?
I've never heard of that.
Right? I was like, what is that? It's a plant that has a really beautiful purple flower on it. If you look up my mom always called it a lupine. But it's a lupin. Really beautiful purple flower, but it grows a seed pod on it, and they can eat those beans, and that plant will grow like in the crummiest soils there are. And I was like, perfect. I could plant that like around the edge of my property and be able to use it as feed for the chicken. Sunflowers. And then I always feed them like, I grew a ton of basil. Basil just grows like crazy out here. I just fed it all to the chickens, all the basil. Oregano is good for your chickens. That was, Jordan. And, they were talking like root vegetables like carrots. My chickens have never really liked carrots. I'm just gonna
Oh, really?
Yeah. They're just like,
my girls love carrots.
Do they? Huh.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have to like tie them up or something. I don't know. Mine have never liked carrots. So I'm all for like the garden
I usually just chop mine up really small so they can just
that's right.
pick them up and swallow them, you know?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
See, I'm just like, oh, here's a carrot.
But they'll sit and pick a watermelon all day.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, there's certain things that they love. And I do in the summertime. I put like corn in with water and make those into ice cubes in the freezer.
Mm-hmm.
And then give them
we do that too.
Yeah. Oh, this is the best.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to just keep updated on this experimental food thing. Like you can't trust what you're buying from.
Oh goodness!
Right?
I'm so tired of everything I can't trust anymore.
I know. Everything.
Right now we're feeding the girls 2 different types. It's commercial, but we use Nature's Best.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Feather Fixer formula, so it does have oregano and some other things in it to help regrow feathers because they're all still molting except for 2. And I mixed that with Country Companion, which is a Cow Ranch brand. And it's the 22% protein. Oh, sorry, 21% protein. And that's just to help them regrow feathers too.
Got you. Yeah, that's the other thing I was saying, like big time as far as making sure they have the amount of protein that they need.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know, like, fish and fish guts. If you don't eat fish, then like animal meat. And I always do. The only thing I wouldn't feed my chickens is chicken. Like, I don't feed them chicken. And when I had pigs, I wouldn't feed the pigs, so we just fed the chicken to the pigs and the pigs. Yeah. Yeah, I was like, I don't think so. Alrighty. Well, we're going to jump into some Changing Earth news. You want to stick around for the Changing Earth news, or you want to sign off?
I guess I'll sign off because I need to go finish picking up poop out of the chicken coop.
Out of the chicken coop. And working with the sick baby.
That we glossed over.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But that poop is great for gardening, so
it is.
That's all I gotta say about it. Yeah. Good
yeah.
time.
We have a lot of it. So.
Uh-huh. Alrighty, Carol.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on and doing our chicken conversation. Very much appreciate it. Why don't you just go ahead and give a shtick on your show real quick? What night's your show on? What's it called? And so everybody can find it.
So it's on Saturdays. Supposed to be at 6 o'clock Arizona time, so whatever that is in your time zone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's called Draven Rock Homestead. And I have a series on chickens. It's called What the Flock.
Love it.
And last weekend I was going to start my gardening series, but then Gladys got sick again, and I actually did a show on that last night. So go find that show on PBN and listen to that. I have a locals account. I just started back up an old Instagram account. They finally let me switch it over to Draven Rock. And I'm currently starting a Patreon. So, and I do have a Rumble channel, but there's nothing on it yet. So I'm kind of just getting into everywhere that I can. So eventually you'll be able to find me anywhere.
Very cool. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show. Always great to talk to you.
Thank you for joining Sarah and Chen for this episode of the Changing Earth podcast. Don't forget to pick up your copy of Day After Disaster, Without Land, The Walls of Freedom, Battle for the South, Dark Days in Denver, and The Endless Night at www.authorsarahfhathaway.com. If you love the Changing Earth series and